My power has expanded, a voice declared, its tone laced with a quiet confidence. So this small inconvenience means nothing. The words were a subtle boast, a declaration of an evolution in strength. A different voice, tinged with a sardonic edge, replied, I will return your weapon to you. Then, shall I? The tone was almost mocking, suggesting a control over the situation. Now, can you mend yourself as you did before? The speaker's tone implied a challenge. A cold, dismissive voice responded, most likely not. Regardless of your capabilities, you are not a complete monarch. The words were a pronouncement of limitation. Is this the extent of your abilities, human? The first voice asked, its tone a mixture of contempt and curiosity. If that is indeed the case, then you will not be able to bear witness to the moment when our forces set foot upon this world. The tone promised a cataclysmic event. When that moment occurs, mountains of human remains shall rise, and their essence shall form boundless rivers. The speaker paused, painting a grim picture of the future. But your country, the place you grew up, will meet a different fate. I will personally encase every living being within its borders in ice, and make them suffer an unending torment. They will be forced to endure an eternity where they can neither cease to be, nor truly live. The words were chilling, laced with a promise of eternal suffering. So, show me your boundless contempt for me as you fade from existence. That, too, shall add to my enjoyment. Still, a little more, just a little more, a voice murmured, seemingly to itself, a mixture of anticipation and determination coloring its tone. Player's life force has reached a critical point, an automated voice announced, the emotionless tone contrasting with the gravity of the words. Player has ceased to be. Player has ceased to be. Player is in possession of the black heart. The pronouncements were cold and final. You have fulfilled all the requirements for passive skill. Unknown? A new, unknown factor had entered the equation. Skill tab, passive unknown, max, tenacity, level 1. Advanced dagger arts, max, active, quicksilver, max, bloodlust, max, stealth, level 2 max. The litany of skills was a testament to a power in flux. Passive skill, unknown has been activated. The announcement held an undercurrent of anticipation. Skill tab, passive unknown, max, tenacity, level 1. Advanced dagger arts, max, active, quicksilver, max, bloodlust, max, stealth, level 2 max, passive, unknown, tenacity. The list continued, showcasing the evolution of power. Skill tab X, max, level 1 advanced dagger arts, max, active quicksilver, max, bloodlust, max, stealth, level 2 max, skill tab unknown, quicksilver, max, bloodlust, level 2, stealth, max. The skills seemed to shift and multiply, an indication of a dynamic transformation. I guess your power is worthless, a voice mocked, the tone laced with scorn. Without the swiftness you are so proud of. I shall return your weapon to you then, shall I? The speaker paused, a subtle challenge in the air. Now, can you mend yourself as you did earlier? A dream. Was it all a dream? A voice whispered, confusion evident in its tone. Hospital. I am certain that the ice dagger pierced through my core, and yet, I still exist? Have you recovered your senses, Chairman Wu Jinchul? The words were a jumble, trying to grasp an impossible reality. Chairman, what happened to those monarchs? A voice asked, urgent and filled with confusion. No, those monsters, and how am I still among the living? The questions piled up, seeking answers to an inexplicable situation. There are 3 things I should inform you, a voice responded, the tone calm and measured. Firstly, I am not the chairman, but the chief inspector of the surveillance team. Secondly, I would like to inquire about the moving statues. And thirdly, how do you know my identity? The speaker's questions were direct and unsettling. How do you know who I am? Wait a second. The speaker's train of thought was broken with a realization. What do you mean by moving statues? A voice asked, incredulity coloring its tone. When we arrived at the site, along with the White Tiger Guild, after receiving the initial report, it was already, the voice began, before being interrupted. That's not what I was asking, the previous voice exclaimed. Don't tell me, impossible. The speaker's tone was a mixture of shock and disbelief. I swore this hospital room felt familiar. That's because I spent 2 weeks here in the past. But Hunter Sung Jin-Woo, you look somewhat different from your photo. The VIP patient room, a voice stated, provided by the Hunters Association. This was the room where I came to consciousness after barely surviving the dual dungeon. The speaker's tone was a mixture of disbelief and growing understanding. Are you quite all right? A new voice asked, concern evident in its tone. I believe I require some time to arrange my thoughts, a voice admitted, its tone tinged with bewilderment. How is this transpiring? Status. Name, Sung Jin-Woo. Class, Shadow Monarch. Level, 146. Titles, Demon Hunter and 2 others. HP, 93,300. MP, 1,557,200. Fatigue, 0. Strength 324, Stamina 320, Agility 340, Intelligence 340, Perception 321. AP, 0. Physical damage reduction 65%. Magical damage reduction 44%. Passive skill, Unknown, Max. Tenacity level 1. Advanced Dagger Arts, Max. Active skill, Quicksilver, Max. Bloodlust, Max. Mutilation, level 2. Dagger Rush, Max. Stealth, Max. Ruler's Authority, Max. Class-specific skills, Shadow Extraction, level 2. Shadow Preservation, level 2. Monarch's Domain, level 2. Shadow Exchange, level 2. My form and statistics are as they were before. I've returned while possessing them all. The voice was filled with a growing sense of realization. Everything that I stored is still here as well. Even Cheon Sang-il, brother. A new voice exclaimed. What are you doing so soon after awakening? The tone was a mix of exasperation and concern. Don't tell me you have injured your head as well, huh? The speaker continued, a teasing note in their voice. Did I come to the wrong room? Who are you? Another voice asked, bewildered. Oh, I suppose she does not recognize me due to the gradual changes in my appearance over time. The speaker paused, the hint of a smile coloring their tone. Back then, can you really not recognize your older brother? Are you truly my older brother? A skeptical voice questioned. I feel as though you have become deaf, Ferret, and you have grown quite a bit as well. That is likely just a sensation, a voice responded dismissively. Why are you heading there? I am rather busy. I must report to the Hunter Association. The voice was filled with a sense of purpose. To inform them of my intention to cease being a hunter. Really? A voice responded, doubt coloring its tone. I know you left while you were in the middle of class, so you should return to school. What dash? And you as well, young man? Do not even consider giving up your studies to become a hunter. How did he know my name? The thought hung in the air. Even though I do not have my shadow forces, I need only to rebuild my army. But how is this transpiring, and why has such a phenomenon occurred? I have truly traveled back in time. Has it been 2 years since that confrontation? To think a man of such appearance would be a S-rank hunter. The device we possess is unable to measure your power, a voice declared, its tone clinical. Hunter Sung Jin-Woo. I am aware, a voice responded, calm and measured. But before we proceed again, I would like to meet with the chairman. The speaker paused. Would that be permissible? Then I shall escort you to the chairman. I am already aware of his location. I shall travel there myself. The statement was firm, a subtle assertion of control. How does someone of his position know the location of the chairman's office? What sort of fabricated story shall I construct today? A voice mused to itself. It is not the first instance that I fabricate falsehoods for the association. Should Chief Inspector Weijenshell discover the deception, I shall be in great difficulty. You possess a stealth skill, and yet you have not reported this fact. Furthermore, you are a high-ranking hunter who is not present on the roster of those who are strictly under the management of the association. The voice paused, its tone growing more menacing. Someone will request you to seek vengeance for their daughter, and I am not interested in your dealings with criminal elements. However, if you inflict harm upon any innocent hunters during that incident, your existence will be brought to an end at my hands. You have been given only a single warning. Just who are you? A voice whispered, apprehension evident in its tone. Who is that specter-like being? It feels gratifying to meet you, a voice declared, the tone possessing an undercurrent of menace. It has been an eternity since last I laid eyes on him. Chairman, seeing how you sought me out upon the acquisition of your test results, I assume you are somewhat versed in the applicable protocols, a voice stated. Already? What is the issue? No, it is nothing, another voice responded dismissively. Notification. Would you like to restart the world? The automated voice punctuated the tense interaction. Accept or decline. Then, I will go directly to the matter at hand. Before that, there is a proposal I wish to put forward to you. The voice was direct, cutting through the tension. A proposal? I require access to Jeju Island to establish my shadow force. Please revise the regulations to allow summons to be regarded as raid members by the association. The speaker paused, making a demand. If this is done, I shall personally overcome every ant on Jeju Island. Notification. Would you like to restart the world? The same mechanical voice spoke again. Accept or decline, another voice said, its tone a mixture of frustration and disbelief. Please refrain from uttering something so ludicrous. Are you not aware of how many times we have failed on Jeju Island raids? This power, it is something only I can accomplish, a voice declared, its tone filled with unwavering confidence. Please, leave it to me. I assure you, I am able to deal with the ants of Jeju Island, power that vastly surpasses even that of a national-level hunter. A breath escaped the speaker, disbelief evident in their tone. How is this? What is happening? Notification. Would you like to restart the world? The emotionless voice spoke once again. Accept? Decline? I think. I am going to retire. Notification. Would you like to restart the world? Accept? Decline? Notification. Would you like to restart the world? Accept? Decline? Notification. Would you like to restart the world? Accept? Decline? Notification. Would you like to restart the world? Accept? Decline? Why will you not cease this? A voice exclaimed, its tone strained. I am aware that this is all an illusion. Cease this charade and reveal your true form. For how much longer do you intend to look down upon me from above? Would you like to restart the world? Accept? Decline? Would you like to restart the world? Accept? Decline? What? Notification? Would you like to restart the world? Accept? Decline? Notification. Start the world. Who are you? A voice asked, laced with both curiosity and dread. Are you the sovereign of the deceased? Are you the sovereign of the departed? A voice asked, the question hanging heavy with an undercurrent of both fear and fascination. A new voice responded, its tone both ancient and gentle. If you so desired, you could reside within this realm for all of time. It would be akin to never awakening from the most sublime dream. The promise was tempting, a vision of endless tranquility. Are you suggesting that I become confined within this illusion that you have crafted? A voice countered, suspicion lacing each word. No, the new voice replied, its tone clear and precise. I did not bring this world into being. You are the architect of its construction. I merely provided the power. The response was a subtle shift in the perceived balance of control. I created this world? A voice asked, disbelief evident in its tone. It is a realm birthed from a combination of your aspiration to correct past missteps and my own power, the voice clarified. In other words, this is my domain. The statement was clear and unequivocal. This is the eternal resting place, the final cessation of all things. The voice paused, adding a layer of chilling finality to its words. I have observed you for a span of time that far surpasses your comprehension. You, who have always been closer to the edge than any other, the voice continued, yet have so fiercely resisted it. I am the embodiment of your struggles, the proof of your resistance, and the reward for your agonies. I am both the cessation of all things and the source of deepest fear. I am you. The statement was enigmatic, blurring the lines between separate identities. And within my dominion, you have the capability to do anything you wish, the voice concluded, a note of invitation in its tone. You can transform my servants into your own, and even absorb their power. Poro, a voice whispered, as if testing the nature of the new reality. Although it is only feasible within your own realm, the ancient voice acknowledged, the ability to bring forth, dismantle, and alter all that exists is a power beyond measure. Are you suggesting that you and I wield the same capabilities? A question, tinged with both curiosity and apprehension. I have awaited this meeting for an extensive period, a voice declared, its tone filled with a sense of ancient purpose. I am the Shadow Monarch, the ruler over the power of the departed, and the steward of the deepest part of the darkness. Why was I chosen? The question was heavy with implication, hinting at a vast, unspoken history. We will present to you our origin and our end, the voice said, the words carrying a weight of ancient knowledge. And also, your beginning. No, a voice exclaimed, the tone laced with a rising panic. He's surely not here anymore, right? The speaker seemed to be addressing someone else, a group of worried individuals. Hunter Sung's presence has vanished, another voice declared. The pronouncement final and absolute. What just transpired? A question, born of confusion and fear, hung in the air. That is beyond the realm of possibility. A voice declared, disbelief evident in its tone. So now, there is no one to obstruct the path of those creatures. Damn it, a voice muttered, frustration thick in its tone. I should not have heeded that person before. Perhaps we could impede their progress if we attack them immediately? A voice suggested, a desperate attempt to take control. No, we must stop them. A voice countered, its tone urgent. Now that even national-level hunters have failed to manage them, there is no recourse. Everyone prepare to discharge. We will execute the plan upon my signal. Our primary target is the creature that resembles a being from the ice. The speaker's words were a desperate call to action. How is this happening? A voice whispered, overwhelmed by what was transpiring. Do not tell me no, another voice exclaimed, the words tinged with dread. We cannot permit this to unfold. We must impede the true sovereign from descending, now that the false one has departed. The speaker's tone revealed an understanding of something far more consequential than what was immediately apparent. From this point forward, no entity will bring harm to this child. A voice, ancient and powerful, cut through the chaos, a declaration of absolute protection. In another realm, light and darkness were the only two elements in existence. The voice began, a tone of narration entering the speech. In an age when everything else was yet to manifest, the source of existence divided itself into fragments, birthing emissaries of the divine and sovereigns designed to dismantle the world. And the emissaries, tasked with safeguarding existence, and the sovereigns, purposed with its dismantling, were in a state of unending conflict. The forces, weary of the ceaseless battle, sought an audience with the source. "Oh, our ultimate ruler," a voice pleaded, its tone filled with desperation. "Why do you not aid your most loyal subjects as they honor you in combat? Why do you ignore the voices of countless individuals, sacrificing themselves for your glory? Please, grant us the power to overcome our adversaries. We shall take their remains as an offering to you." But the source remained silent. And in that moment, a voice declared, the forces came to the realization that to their creator, the conflict was but a spectacle, and that they held no intention of bringing the violence to an end. Adore the source. Adore the power. And with a mixture of both piety and despair, they cried out to the source, swearing their fealty to the source. They had followed its precepts until now. Those who defied the laws were never among the living, yet more followed the path of defeat than triumph. Even when adhering to the dictates, only oblivion awaited. As long as that being existed, there would be no end to the conflict. And in order to cease the endless discord, they drew their blades, and the first seeds of revolt were sown. That is who I was in the distant past. I was the sole emissary who stood against the rebellion of the others. But my pitiful forces fell before the united might of the sovereigns and their armies, and I believed it to be the end. But when I opened my eyes within the depths of the dark, I came to realize that the source had concealed a certain power within me. And so, I led my new force to the battlefront. However, a voice admitted, resignation clear in its tone, upon my return, I discovered that all was over. Viridon optus adius. The name itself was a whisper of a time before. A time when I, its bearer, returned to find a reality shattered beyond recognition. The grand tapestry of existence, once vibrant and whole, was now frayed, its threads torn apart. The brilliant light, once a singular, awe-inspiring presence, had splintered into fragments. These remnants, pulsating with a newfound and terrifying autonomy, had overthrown the absolute being. These fragments, these self-proclaimed new gods, seized the mantle of power, assuming the position of the rulers. They wielded the very tools that once served the absolute, now twisted into instruments of subjugation. Their primary objective, to bring the sovereigns to their knees. I watched as the king of giants, Legia, was ensnared by their machinations, her capture causing a catastrophic shift in the fragile equilibrium of power. The delicate balance between the forces had collapsed. The gravity of the situation finally dawned on the remaining sovereigns. The realization that they were facing their extinction was not only terrifying but also forced an understanding to become united. It was at this pivotal juncture, as their desperation grew, that I extended my hand. I, the one who held a different path. They had no alternative. Necessity, as they say, forced a reluctant alliance. Together, we would confront the common enemy that sought to reshape existence to their design. Thus began a conflict that stretched beyond the limits of time itself. I became something beyond a fragment of light or an emissary of any higher power. I rose as the Shadow Monarch, an entity born of the very essence of shadow, a force that resonated with the unseen and the unknown. Time, the relentless tide, now became my silent partner. The husks of battles past, the lingering energies of conflicts past, became the foundation for my growing army. When my forces melded with the formidable army of destruction led by the king of berserk dragons, the new gods, as well as the remaining monarchs, began to taste the bitter dregs of trepidation. However, within our ranks, insidious fears grew. Two sovereigns, consumed by paranoia, targeted my back. Their actions nearly dismantled the Shadow Army, leaving our collective strength teetering on the brink. This betrayal taught me a hard lesson, that even formidable might could be undermined by the seed of insecurity. The king of beasts, the beast monarch, driven by cowardice, abandoned his forces, leaving them scattered and disoriented. Baron, the monarch of white flames, paid the highest price for this fractured unity, succumbing to the chaos around him. And then, amid the chaos, came a plea from the very beings that sought to control existence. "Please, it is time," they intoned. "Time for you to forgive us. Oh, greatest fragment of brilliant light, this endless fighting has no purpose." Despite their formidable abilities, despite the strength they held to unravel my existence completely, they had opted for a different approach, a path of conciliation. This was the least show of respect they could give me after I was their ally and fought on their front line. "No purpose?" I challenged. "Have your weapons not wounded my liege? Was he not a figure of authority to you as well?" Their offense was all the more appalling because they, of all beings, should have understood the burning passion that drove rebellion. They confessed that their aim was not to destroy, but to bring the conflict to a halt. "Use your weapons on me," they implored. "Grant us the ending we deserve. Allow yourselves to be proclaimed victorious. Find it within your hearts to forgive us. Quell your anger." I was overwhelmed with doubt and confusion. I could not determine a suitable course of action. I retreated, choosing to conceal myself within the shadows, the essence of the monarch of white flames trapped within my own. I had planned to strike at the forces of the beast monarch after healing my wounds. But during my self-imposed isolation, the sovereigns, weakened and scattered, were eventually overcome by the new gods. When I emerged again, the remaining sovereigns, seizing their chance, fled into the dimensional rifts. The king of dragons, acknowledging their dwindling power, forbade further conflict and welcomed me into their ranks. Together, we embarked on a search for a new world, one where we could regain our strength. That world was Earth. To the humans, the sudden appearance of the monarchs must have been a cataclysmic event. Their utter destruction was inevitable. Cities were consumed by infernos, scenes that echoed with a terrible familiarity. Is this what awaits us? The demon castle, a vision of the future? I wondered. No, this is a chronicle of the past, came the answer. The sovereign's purpose was destruction, while the new god's purpose was maintaining a world in the absence of the absolute being. The new gods, belatedly, uncovered the activities of the sovereigns and sent their forces to counteract them. But in the end, all came to ruin. Enraged, the new gods, aware that they had failed to eradicate the chaos of the other world, used the cup of reincarnation. It was an incredible artifact that could turn back the hands of time. It was their ultimate effort to preserve this existence. Yet, the earth was too weak, lacking the magical essence required to endure the conflict. The result would have been the same no matter who came out victorious. Therefore, the new gods made a drastic decision. If they couldn't save all, then some would survive in this world and carry on. This was how the hunters were created. Humans granted the power to face the impending devastation. The new gods, in their own way, wished for the survival of humanity. But could such a world operate normally when they knew that they were the ones to survive while everyone else would meet a terrible end? The Demon King was a memory, a fragment of the Shadow Monarch, a reminder that this world had already experienced countless cycles of destruction. Although the higher beings couldn't go against the flow of time, they could perceive the changes made by the cup of reincarnation. While the rulers attempted to correct their errors, the sovereigns, in turn, modified their strategy until the divine tool was depleted. So there is a limit to the cup? I asked. Just as the absolute being was dismantled by its creations, everything has a limit. The sovereigns then adopted the methods of the new gods, granting power to humans, just as the new gods had done with the hunters. This allowed them to descend into the world with their forces much sooner than expected, using the planet's magic to create a vast trap to ensnare the forces that attempted to aid the world. However, for a sovereign of my magnitude, I needed a host capable of wielding such immense power. No ordinary human could withstand the darkness that was a part of me. It was then that a powerful mage, working under a king, offered me a solution. He sought an imperishable body in return for his assistance. This architect, as he was called, had built a system designed to search for the perfect vessel. He sought a human with the gift to sense magic, with a formidable physique, and with a strong spirit and mind. He found a human that broke his system, rewriting the rules of his game and exceeding his expectations. I chose them instead of the architect. I was there to witness their resistance and their pain. The system he designed was like a game, transforming the host level by level until they matched my power. This was the reason the system was similar to a game. But in the end, it was a betrayal of the system. Shadow Monarch, how could you? Do you really believe the other monarchs will not act against you? Why offer an apology when they will all watch us fall? I had considered what side I should stand on. The time I spent as you, and you as me, as you grew stronger was a gift, and I didn't want to lose that. No matter who inhabits this body, it would be normal, for we are one. Therefore, I offer you a choice. You can stay here in this dream, or I can send you back into the fray. You stated that you made your choice, but instead retreated with the monarchs. Because they didn't have a space for me. My response is the same. This is not where I should belong. Will this be the final time I see you? I asked. I will return to my rest, and you, the Shadow Monarch, will live an endless life. Thus our path will unlikely cross again. With death, your power has become absolute, I was told. The way back I know, because I am you. Arise. The deletion code initiated, a string of characters echoing into the void. Asterisk. A cascade of digital whispers followed. Player nurturing system has been entered. The very foundations of reality seemed to tremble, a tremor that resonated through the digital fabric of existence. A chilling pronouncement echoed next. The system will now be deleted. This was not mere deletion. It was an unraveling, a dismantling of the framework itself. Any power limits on the player will now be removed. The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. With no more limitations of the power, all commander rank shadow soldiers will regain their full power potential. This wasn't just about numbers. It was about a return to raw, unbridled strength. The echoes continued, each word a hammer blow to the established order. The power of commander rank soldier, Igress, has been restored. A ripple effect, an invisible surge of energy. The abilities of commander rank soldier, Barrow, have risen significantly. The very air crackled with the return of potent forces. And then, the name that sent shivers down the spines of even the most powerful beings. The Shadow Monarch, Ashborn, is returning to the world of eternal void. A question, both a choice and a challenge, hung in the digital ether. Would you really like to delete the system? A stark decision, a single word demanded, yes. No hesitation, no second thoughts, just a decisive, resolute, yes. The world shifted, reformed around a new focal point. Fragment of brilliant light, a voice, tinged with both fear and desperation, cut through the silence. The worst disaster is coming from the body of the human you are trying to protect. The accusations were pointed, dripping with distrust. Are you really trying to bring disaster upon this world by your own actions? Are you really risking your own existence to aid the Shadow Monarch's revival? The voice rose, laced with fury. At your own peril. Just what are you traitors thinking? There was a sense of urgency, a frantic realization that time was a luxury they no longer possessed. We don't have much time. The scene shifted to a different battlefield. This being, one voice hissed, laced with surprise. This being is anticipating the trajectory of my spear, the tragic tree, and moving accordingly. A formidable opponent, one that possessed an unnerving awareness of his adversary's intent. He moves like a seasoned warrior, another voice noted, a blend of begrudging respect and apprehension. He has seen countless battles. The movements were precise, not a wasted action, a mastery born of countless engagements. He is expertly avoiding the Frost Monarch's attacks and deflecting all of my attempts simultaneously. A display of tactical brilliance, a dance of power that left the onlookers shaken. You being, roared a voice in anger. I will tear you apart. The tension reached its peak as something fundamental shifted. A voice of realization, and also of dread. TS knows it now. He has messed up. The tide of the engagement seemed to turn in an instant. That will not work on me again, a new voice countered, laced with confidence. Let's attack now. I will intercept, the voice added, offering an alliance. Stopping after coming this far? A voice, thick with disbelief, questioned. Are you out of your mind? Can't you feel it? The very essence surrounding us has started to cry. The weight of the moment became oppressive, a palpable dread permeating the air. The Shadow Monarch is coming. A reluctant withdrawal followed. Count me out of this, but a sense of betrayal hangs in the air. Didn't you promise to help me overcome the Shadow Monarch? The voice questioned in disbelief. The response was cold, clinical. My promise was limited only to the Shadow Monarch in his human form. The excuse was thin. But since the actual sovereign is coming, I no longer have a promise to keep. A stark acknowledgement of the shifting landscape. Even so, to see you running like a terrified beast, even though you are the beast monarch. The rebuke was sharp, tinged with scorn. Frost Monarch, you wouldn't understand. You have yet to taste the full power of the Shadow Monarch. I shall pray for your fortune. The statement was laced with dark humor, a thinly veiled threat. What a foolish being, a new voice scoffed. Taste the terror of the frost, weakling. The power of the new attack began to reveal itself. This is my true power. The force was immense. The landscape itself seemed to tremble. Make sure not to get caught in it. A frantic warning echoed. We are retreating. Everyone, leave this place at once. The call for retreat was urgent, a desperate plea to escape the approaching devastation. Mere humans dare to challenge me, a voice bellowed, laced with condescension. They challenge me without knowing their place. The words were a promise of retribution. Azuraskans, your home is now trapped inside the eternal void. The void will house you along with the Shadow Monarch. Was this a promise to dismantle everything? Is he planning to eradicate this entire area? The possibility was terrifying. Frost Monarch, do not assume the position of a king. With only that much power, the dismissive tone was laced with disdain. Azuraskans, he broke out of my spell. Does that mean the commander-rank shadow soldiers have regained their powers? The pieces began to fall into place. A dangerous realization dawned. So that is why I shouldn't trust him, and that is why the beast fled? The suspicion turned to certainty. Who dares to abandon their posts without my permission? The question hung in the air, a chilling promise that the consequences would be dire. The tension hung heavy, a prelude to a battle that would reshape the very fabric of existence. The stage was set, the pieces were in play, and the Shadow Monarch had emerged, unbound and ready to claim what was his. A wall I cannot comprehend. The words were a murmur, a confession of bewilderment against an insurmountable barrier. A sense of disparity grew. Isn't the gap between us too big? The question hung in the air, a testament to an overwhelming imbalance of power. The scene shifted, revealing a figure poised for action. Here you are, the Frost Monarch. The voice carried a sharp edge, a mix of challenge and recognition. Instinct is leading you toward the Shadow Monarch's blind spot. An opportunity, fleeting and perilous, had presented itself. It was a chance that wouldn't come twice. A sense of urgency permeated the air. No matter how much of a power difference there is, you shouldn't look away from an adversary. The principle was clear, a code of conduct for those facing dire circumstances. If I miss this opportunity, the only thing awaiting me is a certain demise. I must finish this in one shot. The stakes were absolute, the potential consequences dire. Aren't you something? A voice remarked, an acknowledgement tinged with dark amusement. This is the power of the Shadow Monarch. The name itself was a declaration of immense ability, the greatest fragment of brilliant light, and one of the strongest monarchs. The statement was a pronouncement of authority and a clear assessment of the odds. The incomparable power that is the Shadow Monarch. The being's presence commanded respect and fear. You last here until I locate the beast. You wait here. The command was clear, a temporary holding action in a larger strategy. The energy of death has been strangling me, a voice whispered, its tone laced with regret. I regret escaping too late, just to argue with the Frost Monarch for no reason. A lament for a missed opportunity, a moment of pride that had led to a precarious situation. Now that things have turned out like this, I just have to hide out here until the King of Berserk Dragons comes. The hope was fragile, dependent on external intervention. A sudden change in the atmosphere, this energy, could it be? The voice was laced with a blend of dread and awe. The smell of death is overwhelming. I can't win, especially with my expert level, and I can't outrun such a difference in power. The words were a confession of overwhelming odds. The fear of power, learned through experiences. A deep-seated understanding of his limitations. Bow down. The command was sharp, absolute. Obey. My instincts were warning me. A primal recognition of an irresistible force. Shadow Monarch, I, the King of Beasts, do not wish to continue this conflict with you. A desperate plea for mercy. Please, forgive me for my atrocious actions, and accept me as your ally. Soon the King of Berserk Dragons will lead his soldiers here. Then the army of beasts and I will help you. The offer was a gamble, a desperate attempt at survival. All right, came the reply, an acknowledgement of the offer. Fool, a voice muttered, tinged with a mix of disdain and self-awareness. He is not the real one. A sharp recognition of deception. If the real Shadow Monarch was here, not only did I betray him once, but I also tried to dismantle the vessel of his descendant. A litany of past transgressions. He wouldn't even think of forgiving me. A realization of the precarious nature of their position. I've only been spared some time due to the humans' warm heart and naivety. The source of their reprieve was not to be relied on. All I have to do is wait for the King of Berserk Dragons to come. Their fate lay in the hands of another. When the time comes, I will gladly tear your being into pieces, and before that I need to pay you back for what you did. The promise was cold, a chilling declaration of intent. I will be loyal. A twisted sense of duty in this dire situation. 5 of your claws tore through my chest because of you. If you can withstand just 5 of my attacks, I will consider forgiving you. A test of strength and endurance. You are mocking me. The King of Beasts raged. This may be the end of me, but you won't be safe either. A final stand against the insurmountable force. From or left, a voice whispered, acknowledging the impossible position they faced. Besides that, there is a problem with the being on the ruler's side, treating humans like animals. The other one is a problem too. I've seen him before, one of the 2 wings of the Shadow Army, the Soldier of Death. Igris looks like he can use his full powers now. How inconvenient. They can recover until the Shadow Monarch's power runs out, but they can't regain magic used. With my apparition, this will be a challenge. The scope of the challenge was rapidly becoming clear, their very existence hanging in the balance. Don't do anything useless, a voice commanded, laced with impatience. How long do you think you can last against me? The question was a taunt, a challenge to an opponent outmatched on all fronts. This is the end of the King of Beasts. The words were a pronouncement, cold and absolute. Is he saying that he overcame the King of Beasts in minutes? The Monarch of Plagues, the King of Beasts, and the Frost Monarch. Their losses will serve as a warning to the other monarchs. The scale of the power had been made evident. The beast fell on the 4th blow. How long do you think you will last? The words were a cruel, final taunt.